Best. All right. Doing a video. Okay, good. Man, a little disappointing. I got to do it all over again, but what can you do? Hopefully, my sound doesn't go off right at the beginning, like last time. um, Anybody who pops in here, let me know if you hear anything. Um, Maybe I should write something in here just so they could see. All right. Triple checking my volume. It's working. Guess worse things have happened in life, but I'm gonna do it all over again. Monument of Endurance. I like this card a lot. I hope it's not a arena card because it has the arena art. Doesn't have all the information down here. You can tell by like the DPI in the image, but the card effect is really powerful, which is why I hope it's going to be in paper too. Uh, Whenever you discard a card, choose one that has been chosen this turn. So you are limited to a turn. You only get 3 triggers per turn, but there's 4 players in a game of Commander, so that's 12 triggers per revolution. And that's a pretty sweet deal considering what it does. You get a card, you get a treasure, and you drain people for 3 life. So it's a win condition, draws you more gas, and it solves your mana problems. It does everything if you're in a discard deck. I would run this 10 out of 10 times. Guardian Sunmare. Uh, it's uniquely powerful, lets you search for a non-land permanent 3 or less mana and just put it into play. Now, there is some drawback to this, is it has to be attacking and it has to be saddled, and the saddle is pretty large of 4. I think that's the fair trade-off. Is it's hard to get something going the turn you play it, but when you do the following turn, or if you have haste in play and you meet the requirement of saddling it, just putting in any permanent, there's a lot of powerful things that cost 3 or less mana. So a lot of combo pieces in CDH. I feel like it's way more efficient just to run any other kind of traditional tutor, but I think it's a fun one. Adds a little spice to your casual game. Pact Altair. This is a good set for commons and uncommons, or at least these last 2 days have been pretty good. Whenever this or another artifact enters, you drain people, which it's usually attached to a death trigger, which I thought was kind of unique. Sticking in on an ETB trigger means you don't need a sack outlet to close out games. You just need to make a ton of artifacts. Not hard to do with that permanent type, if you ask me. I think the only thing that kind of sucks about it is it's CMC. It's a little up there. Pathbreaker Ibex, pretty solid reprint. It's a $20 card in the secondary market, probably overdue. This is one of those cards that always retains its value for how powerful it is. It's an overrun effect that scales with the biggest creature. Really darn good. I run this in my Volo deck to make a copy of him, and then one attacks, it sees one of the triggers being 3. Say that's like the minimal thing power wise. When the second one goes to look at the highest power, it will be a 6. So 4 damage is even dealt. You have 9/9s coming in at people. Or actually, sorry, you have 12/12s coming at people with trample. Can't do my math right. Bone Miser's also a really sick reprint. It's got like a Undead Bob's Burgers look and feel to it, but $15 reprint, probably needed. Really great discard lists. Pair this up with that monument we looked at earlier, and you probably got gold. Quadruple checking volume. Okay, we're still golden. Gonti Knight Minister. If you are a Chaos player, this is your wet dream because unfortunately, you Chaos players don't get a lot of new and fun toys, and this probably is one. It enables every player to rip cards off of each other's libraries based on if you deal damage to them. It's super good, and then you get mana, so it's like I don't know, cost reduction in a weird way. You get a treasure after casting that person's spell, so brutal. I just think I can't stand chaos decks. I can't stand doing favors for other people. Uh, there are ways you can make this one sided. If you are in, I don't know, like a Esper deck and you run Lavinia, only you can cast stuff from exile, no one else can. You do shenanigans like that, but that means you're running Lavinia and this in the 99 and something else in the commander. If you're trying to pull that off, I don't know if it's really worth your efforts, but could be a fun deal. Radiant Lotus, it's not as good as it looks, but there is some trade off. There are some good stuff about it. The downside is it costs 6 mana. The plus side is this very first sentence where it says sacrifice one or more artifacts. There aren't a lot of things that let you just sack whatever amount of artifacts as you desire. We have Cart Clan Ironworks and like maybe one or two other things, but this activated payment is welcomed. The 3 mana, it doesn't scale with the number of artifacts you sack, so you're only getting rewarded for sacking one, essentially. But if you need a lot of artifacts to go to your graveyard, this is a good like outlet for that. Unstoppable Plan. This lends itself to Tim decks. This basically lets you activate your creatures 2 times per revolution of the table, which is obviously double than what normal circumstances would give you. Super favorite. It also lets you play defensively, it lets you play offensively, you go to combat, have everything up for blocking. There's a lot of applications to this. If you run a lot of mana rocks and you're a control list, you'll want this so you have mana up to interact with your opponents. Adrenaline Junkie. It's a punisher for controlless. Whenever a player casts a spell and it's not their turn, this creature does 4 damage to that player, which racks up a lot of damage really fast. I'd say it's even more brutal in CDH because that's all people do is play at instant speed. And they also pay a ton of life for their effects. So like it's not uncommon to see people on turn 3 or 4 playing CDH and they're already lost half their life. And then you add this to the mix and you have people thinking twice about paying life for things, for sure. For 3 mana, it's a sweet deal. Spectacular Collision. Not only is it desirable to steal indestructibility from everything and then blow them up, you throw cycling on this and then you have a truly exceptional card. I hate drawing board wipes when you are having commanding lead over the board because then it's a dead card, or you draw too early and it's also a dead card. But you add the cycling 2 when you can pitch to replace itself. It's useful at every stage of the game. Super good board wipe. I fear that not a lot of people are going to play it, but I think it's worth you swapping out certain board wipes for this. It's a god killer, that's for sure. Tree Demon. Love the power of the card. Love the art style, the title. The only thing that's kind of like a bummer is its text box here. Like, I feel like they could have been a little more creative with this. You go so fast that you start running over people. Maybe make the first speed trample, the second speed something else like vigilance. Um, the point is we get to flying, and then that could be the final speed. You've reached so much speed that you've achieved physical liftoff. That's the funny idea I had for like the design of this, but it seems silly to complain about the draw trigger because it is really strong. It's just too simple for my taste for the fit of this card. Um, Having you see a bunch of cards the same turn you play something is rare for a permanent, let alone see multiple cards a turn. It's super strong. And if you have excess mana, you draw an instant, you can use it on other people's turns. Um, might be a silly gripe of mine, but let me know in the comments if you think they could have been a little more creative with that part. But I still think it's significant. Riptide Gearhulk. Probably the second best Gearhulk we've seen. The other ones, the green white one and this one, are by far head and shoulders better than the rest. Its ETB trigger lets you uh, tuck your opponent's stuff. It says each player, but you just say 0 for you because it says up to 1. So unless you want to put something of yours away, you could. I don't know what that would be, but you could. Maybe you have a permanent with like a pacifism on it, and it's like, why not? Better in my deck and resetting it than not having it at all, right? That'd probably be one of the very few examples where I'd say tucking your own stuff is better. Heck, you could actually um, tuck itself. You could use this over and over again. I didn't think about that application. That's pretty funny. Uh, the other cool part about it is it has double strike and prowess. People do not respect prowess at all. In the right kind of lists, this could kill people. I mean, it's in the right colors of being blue and white, where if you play artifacts and eggs, you could one shot to people with this and surprise kill them. Like I've seen people get killed by Shuyan all the time. I don't see why Riptide Gearhulk would be any different, but it's really brutal tempo wise. This bottom ETB trigger. Oh wait, no. I don't know why I thought it said each player. It's just opponents. So scrap that idea of tucking itself. Doesn't work. But one could have dreamt. That would have been hilarious. But the tempo of that trigger is significant. You make people reinvest mana into recasting their stuff, and then you steal a draw. So it's compoundingly annoying, if that's a word. Boiled Chome. It's a draw 3, gain 3 life on affinity for artifacts. So very realistically, you could draw 3, gain 3 for just 2 mana investment. Even in 60 card formats, I think this is very doable, and I wonder if this will make some waves in 60 card formats. I don't know if Affinity's seen its place, but that 3 life is kind of significant because those formats are even faster than Commander, and gaining 3 life buys you time in a game like that. They can't aggro decks can't finish you off as fast. They have to invest at least 1 additional lightning bolt to kill you. Riverturn Monument. It pairs up really well with the mill decks that like to hit people with Traumatize, because then you could use the exhaust ability to mill the remaining half of their deck, go to their next turn, they draw on their draw, or they die on their draw step. Meanwhile, you could just activate it and plink people's cards off the top of your library every turn. And you pair this up with Tin decks, you probably do it more often. Veteran Beast Rider. It's kind of another one of those cards like the blue enchantment we just talked about. It untaps your creatures on your end step. It's not as good as untapping all non-land permanents, but it's still good enough. The other thing that's kind of significant about it is it does have a mana sink on it that pumps your whole board. Most Tim decks generate infinite mana by tapping and untapping their stuff. So not only do you have like a nice like medium effect and like feels good to untap your stuff on your end step, but now you have a place to dump all that mana into a strategy that likes to make a lot of mana. Super good for Tim decks. Dredger's Insight. Whenever one or more artifacts or creature cards leave your graveyard, you gain a life. Um, for those of you that do play graveyard shenanigans, that could rack up a lot of life. Even in like a reanimator strategy, I think you'd like that a lot too. The ETB trigger is nice. You mill 4, and then you get to put an artifact, creature, or land from the mill cards back to your hand. A lot of solid uncommons and commons these last 2 days. So the day of the uncommons for sure. But that brings us to the end of the, spoilers from these last 2 days that are worth mentioning. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry about the previous recording of this. For whatever reason, the volume got cut out. We got 2 days left of Aetherdrift spoilers. They finish up on the 30th. So, because they typically don't release a whole lot of stuff worthy of me mentioning, like I'm not going to just stream for a few minutes to talk about 5 cards. I'm going to group it tomorrow and the last day for all of your viewing pleasure. And then my plan is to start making videos because I haven't made a video in about 2 weeks. I've been exclusively streaming to cover the spoilers. Whoops, my channel. This is what I want to look at. Yeah, last video I made was 2 weeks ago. And my plan is to chop up the deck tech streams and release them as a nice, edited video like these ones down here. I already did the first 4. I'm almost done with the second batch of 4. Can't wait to show them and play them on the channel, which comes the 14th. Might be a little bit earlier because I play them on Moto, and usually cards come out a little bit earlier there. So I hope you all enjoyed. Take care. Have a good night.